We're delighted that Mr. Khurram Dasgir Khan is with us today, and I'd like to thank you for joining us. Mr. Dasgir Khan is M&A and Chairman of the Standing Committee on Commerce. He's also a former Special Assistant to the Prime Minister, and he's a member of the Central Joint Secretary, and he's a Central Joint Secretary of the Pakistan Muslim League N. So may I invite you, Mr. Dasgir Khan, to speak to us. Thank you.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. This is Amina Syed, the Managing Director of Oxford University Press. A very distinguished panel and equally distinguished members of the audience. Assalamu alaikum. The interesting thing is that Dr. Asif is a neighbor, he is a resident of my constituency, and like me, he is the son of the soil of the great city of Gujranwala. So I was going to praise him anyway, and would have said, he's written a good book and you should read it and buy it. But the fact is, and I think this conclusion has come out from the two speakers that have preceded me, is that Dr. Asif has written now the best single volume book on the energy crisis in Pakistan. I think it will be very clear in its comprehensive approach, which while only touches on certain things like geopolitics, but he has laid out the context. And to someone like me who's always short of time, he has presented the basic facts. He has presented the basic statistics, the maps. So he's essentially cut through a lot of what is usually in Pakistan a very intense fog of nonsense that surrounds every topic of public controversy in our great country. So I think he should be congratulated, and I'm proud that he's the son of Gujranwala. I think Gujranwala, like Pakistan, suffers from an image problem, which of course is always seen in the context of people eating chada and barbecue. But this one of my jobs to remind this distinguished audience that Gujranwala has also been the home of the two greatest exponents of modern Urdu verse in Urdu history, Noon Meem Rashid and Miraji were both sons of Gujranwala. And the founders of Urdu journalism on the subcontinent, Maulana Zafar Ali Khan and Mir Khalil Rahman, both sons of Gujranwala. And we had great Punjabi writers, Amrita Pratham, Fakir Muhammad Fakir, who were born here, Dr. Raif Qureshi, a very distinguished scholar, and most recently, I'm delighted to, and most people don't know this, but the distinguished now British novelist Nadeem Aslam, who's written three very outstanding novels, was born in Gujranwala in 1974. So Gujranwala, I think, has this history of scholarship, of art, and I'm delighted that Dr. Asif is following in these distinguished footsteps. But that aside, I think the book is extremely important, comes at a very critical juncture in which we are trying to determine, in fact, first of all, we are deep in trouble on the energy front. And it often seems to us that our policymakers have been the allies of our grave diggers for some reason when it comes to energy. And I will differ with Sayyid Talut Hussain on this. I think on a certain point, it is correct to call a spade a spade. Yes, it detracts from the usual neutral scholarly tone that we expect from research books. But it is a fact that Pakistan had an electricity surplus in the last Nawaz Sharif government, but even 2 years after that, which Dr. Asif refers to in his book, that in 2001 we were in negotiation with India to export electricity to India. And if something has happened since 2001 to bring us to this calamitous shortage of 5,000 megawatts on any given day that we suffer, and practically the country's economic future is mortgaged because of electricity. I think we need to realize this. And I think this is one of the conclusions that screams out from Dr. Asif's book, is that this is something which is not a political problem, which is not just a management problem. The generation of electricity has bankrupted the country. PEPCO alone now demands upwards of 170 billion in subsidies. I've been in Parliament 3 years now, and every year I'm asked increasing amounts. We started, I think, somewhere around 155. Next year it was 170, and I think this year is going to be 195 billion in subsidies that the Parliament is asked to approve at the end of the year, just because the power generation, the difference, what we are told is that the power generation cost is higher, and the price given to consumers is lower, and therefore that difference is covered by the government. There is quite a great deal of blame to go around. If the situation has suffered in the 10 years since 2001, and I think Dr. Asif is very correct. Maybe I'm biased being a member of the opposition in the Musharraf era and even now, but I think he's done a very good job of pointing out where the problems have been. Yes, certain sentences could have been phrased more diplomatically, but I think it does not detract from the overall value of the book that we are discussing today. Another, I think, very highlight that we should consider in this book is a very detailed discussion of alternative energy. And he's especially given what is very interesting, calls a solar water heater wake-up call. And because there is something, and I think this is what analysis does, honest analysis does. It allows us to single out and focus on certain issues that must be solved immediately. And the solar water heater wake-up call is very interesting, because when I received the book, I couldn't understand what was on the cover. And I tried to decipher it, didn't know what was it about. And it's only when you read the book and you read the caption on the illustration, you find out that this, ladies and gentlemen, is a solar water heater that is on the cover of the book. And I think it's something that he has pointed out very correctly, that this is something the government must consider in very short order. It is one of the options that are available to the government. The government is not completely out of options. Another thing that comes out when one reads the book is that it's not just for policymakers, and I think I'll deal with policy a short while later, but it's also a book that highlights the inefficiencies in the private sector. And there are massive inefficiencies not only in our factories, massive inefficiencies, bad design, old obsolete design in some of the energy using appliances that are manufactured in the country. So it's not just for the government's job, of course, is to regulate these, but there are serious problems in the private sector also, which Dr. Asif has pointed out, and I'm very glad that Sayyid Al-Hassan is already here, so he's already given the fact that Dr. Asif is interested in journalists reading his book. But coming to the policy making, I think this is something that, and while reading that chapter, what came into my mind, unbidden, is the novel Blindness by José Saramago, who is a Portuguese Nobel Prize winner. The book is about a plague of blindness that plagues an unnamed city. No one knows why people are going blind, and the book goes through that whole episode, and in the end, sight is restored to people. And the narrator is the only person in the book who has sight. And at the end of the book, in the last pages of the book, as the blindness finally abates, the narrator, whose eyes have seen everything, offers us an answer, and I want to read out that answer to you. And this is in context of how we have made policy regarding energy. The narrator says, Why did we become blind? I do not know. Perhaps one day we'll find out. Do you want me to tell you what I think? Yes, you do. I don't think we did go blind. I think we are blind. Blind but seeing. Blind people who can see but do not see. So this blindness, ladies and gentlemen, is in fact an allegory of not wanting to see what is in front of you. And I think this blindness is what has plagued policy making regarding the energy sector, because the energy sector would have required a lot of coordination between departments, it would have required a lot of forward thinking, and it would have required planning for a crisis that has not yet occurred. And that is the reason that we are here where we are today. So, one thing that we can do if we look forward is to stop those people, discourage those people for whom it has become very difficult to see what plagues this country. And the other thing, I think the most relevant quote in Dr. Asif's book is from Albert Einstein. He says, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used to create them. I want to read this again. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used to create them. We need fresh thinking. We need fresh initiative. And we need fresh eyes who can see a way to the solution to Pakistan's energy crisis. But I'm delighted that Dr. Mohammad Asif has lighted the way. Wama alayna illa al-balagh. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen.